All right, so today's question of the day comes from Tempin, and Tempin asks about boot camp graduation requirements. So coming into boot camp, we think of two things, PFA and swim. So for the PFA, we take 3 in boot camp. The first one you want to pass if you want to get promoted for the depth test. However, if you're not worried about passing the depth test, if you're not worried about ranking up, you don't have to technically pass the first one and the second one. The first one is placed for them to see where you are at physically. The second one is to see if you have made progress from the first one to the second one. If you haven't made progress, or if you're struggling with something, the RDCs, the Recruit Division Commanders, take a look at that information, and if you're suffering from push-ups and sit-ups, they're going to make you do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups. If you're suffering from your run time, they're going to make you run a lot, right? So they only focus on the bottom of the bottom, people who are suffering the most. So if you're close to it, you're kind of on your own. You just need to push yourself to pass on your own. The second thing is swim. So a lot of people who get held back from boot camp because they can't pass swim that I see are 2 types of people. Number one, inner city people who have never really grown up with a swimming pool in their backyard, like people from the country, suburban side would, or have access to a swimming pool. So I've seen them struggle a lot with not being able to pass the swim test. And number 2, people from different countries that obviously like I said, never really grew up around a body of water. Okay, so I definitely recommend. So if you have never swam before, you train yourself and get familiar with all the different swimming strokes out there. There's 4 different types of strokes that you can do, and make sure you are able to swim, I would say, right about 150 yards nonstop with that one stroke, or being able to switch it up. So 150. So if you go to a local swimming pool, it's probably going to be about a 50-yard pool, and make sure you just go back and forth 3 times. Okay, so make sure you train yourself and pace yourself, because if you have never swam before, you go into this for the first time, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to definitely be a struggle. Out of my own personal division, towards the end of boot camp, there was right about 75 people. I would say right about 8 people got held back because they couldn't pass the swim test. And the funny thing is, I don't know if it's funny or not, but after 2 months of boot camp, obviously I graduated, and 2 months of A school, and towards the end of A school, when I was the week of graduation, my friend from boot camp who couldn't pass his swim added me and said, "Hey, I graduated boot camp." So he stayed extra 2 months because he couldn't pass his swim. So this thing is very important, all right? Now, there are other miscellaneous requirements. Some of those requirements are classes that you definitely have to take, things that you have to progress towards all throughout boot camp. For example, being able to shoot a 9mm pistol, just passing in general. Also, firefighting, just knowing the basics of firefighting, that class that you have to take. So that's important. So there are other miscellaneous classes, miscellaneous events, such as battle stations, that you definitely have to pass. Now, a good amount of people get what's called SIQ on purpose, sick in quarters. So what that is they kind of, if you are really sick, if you're really sick, you get SIQ chit, so you get sick in quarters, so you stay in your bed all day. But there are some people who choose to be SIQ because they pretend to be sick and all that kind of stuff, bellyache, and they get this SIQ chit, and they miss out on the classes. If you miss out on the classes, you're going to have to make it up. If you can't make it up with the next class, which is a week before you, if you can't make it up with them, you're going to be held back. Okay? Personally, in my division, there was one person who got held back and came into my division because of that. Okay? So you don't really want to pretend to be sick if you don't have to. Okay? Now, one of the things that was interesting is there are certain things that prevent you from taking certain classes. So one of the things that I saw was during confidence chamber, which is gas chamber. If you have what's called sickle cell, I don't know what that is. If you have sickle cell, you will obviously know this pertains to you. Those people didn't do the confidence chamber, I thought was pretty cool. Well, which I thought was interesting. So there are some people. So in my division, there was like 2-3 people that didn't take the confidence chamber because they had some type of deficiency or whatever within their body. That wasn't like a big deal for them not being able to join, but it was enough for them not to do the confidence chamber or some types of events throughout boot camp. So that is just to give you guys some idea, some of the boot camp requirements. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great Navy day.